fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to a very special edition of From 8 Arbitration. I've been waiting on this one a while. I've been waiting on this episode a while. I've held this name in for quite some time. I almost said it the other day, and I talked to this guy the next day, and I was like, I almost said your name, baby. I was so excited. But when I think of Director of City Delivery, and I've said this before, and when I think of Director of City Delivery, what am I looking for? As a city letter carrier, because I'm a city letter carrier. And what comes to mind when I think of Director of City Delivery? Somebody that has great passion for the city letter carrier. That's what I think of as Director of City Delivery. Somebody that has a great passion for the city letter carrier. Somebody that has a backbone. We need that now more than ever. And of course, we have a great Director of City Delivery now who's all of his responsibilities have been taken away from him, so he's really not able to do anything. But when James Henry takes over, the CLC takes over, what's the Director of City Delivery? What does he need? A backbone. That's critical for the people he's going to be meeting with. You got to have a love. And number one, above anything else, is the love for the city letter carrier. And that's what James Henry is putting together as far as his ticket, his slate, are those individuals that first and foremost love the city letter carrier. So Director of City Delivery has to have that first, a love for the city letter carrier. And quite frankly, they have to be a bad motherfucker. And that's one of the ingredients. If I was making a big cake, a Director of City Delivery cake, it would be passion for the city letter carrier, a backbone, critical, a great love for the city letter carrier, and just a straight up bad motherfucker. And James Henry has them. I told y'all that there was two names being floated around, and I prayed about this one name, hoping that James would pick this guy because I've met him several times. We talk often, and just he's infectious the way he is cares about his people, where he's at, his vision, and so I'm gonna introduce him tonight, the next Director of City Delivery, because to me it's a foregone conclusion that you will be that. But Rob Kosier is going to be the next Director of City Delivery for the NALC. And I met Rob a few months ago, went up to do some training at his branch, and immediately fell in love with this guy. And I've said this before, immediately fell in love with him because of his passion for his people. And I love seeing that, especially nowadays when that is lacking. And so many people reach out to me where their branch president really doesn't give a shit about them. But this guy was different. He was different. And he was taking a lot of flack for the CLC coming and doing education, just doing education. And that's where I knew that he had a backbone, because he stood up to that. These past business agents, retired business agents, getting on him about, how dare he let these rebel rousers, the CLC, come up and educate your people, which is ridiculous to me. And so I saw then how he handled that situation. This guy has a backbone, and he's got that love for his people. You could tell that he's got that in spades, but he is legitimately just a bad motherfucker. And so, Rob, you with me, baby?
Yes, sir.
All right, my man. So, Rob Kosier. I've said Rob Kosier for I don't know how many times I've called you that.
I'm just
And
being
thank you.
polite by not correcting you.
I was fixing to say, thank you for not putting a foot in my ass every time I say it, but I say Dave Groskopf, and Dave finally messaged me the other day, and he says, this is the last time I'm going to say it. It's Groskopf. It's David Groskopf. And so I was like, I apologize. I'm terrible with names. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a Southern thing, but I'm terrible with names. But Rob Kosier, the next Director of City Delivery for the NALC, brother, I'm going to let you have it. I could not be happier. As a city letter carrier myself, I could not be more ecstatic that you're going to take over that position. knowing who you are, knowing your values, integrity. You got that, man, just running all over you, and we need that now more than ever. But man, just tell everybody who you are, what you do, where you've been, and what you're playing, baby, and we'll make a short night of it. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right, baby, it's all yours.
All right, man. Appreciate it. I also want to thank you for praying about me. I could always I could always use some extra prayers. Um, so been in the post office about 11 years. Started as a CCA in 2014. Became a steward after a few months. Um, I had no intentions of doing that, honestly, because my past job, I worked in as a machinist in a machine shop for the machinist and aerospace union. Was a steward there. Kind of had some issues there, but getting into it every day with management, and just wanted to come to the post office and just have a nice career, take it easy. I knew what the post office was about. My mother was a mail handler, cousin was a mail handler. And I'll be honest, and I always tell this to the group at the academy. I thought my parent or my mom and my cousin were just shit ass employees. I was like, man, you guys are always in trouble. All this crap going on. Maybe maybe the city carrier is different. And yeah, right. Uh, not even officially on the floor. Driver trainer took me to go meet my supervisor, and it was hate at first sight. Didn't have no respect, even turn around, look at me, and I was like, "Yep, me and this woman ain't gonna get along." And sure shit, kept threatening me about not making my 90 days, forcing me to work through my lunches. Unfortunately, the stewards I had at that time, they didn't take care of me, so I was like, "Well, I got to take care of myself," and got elected as a steward. And but then the next problem became, who was I going to get to help me? And my academy instructor so happens to be the current business agent of Region 7, Patrick Johnson. And he kind of took me under his wing and got me going. Shortly thereafter, started doing Formula A's, and all is good. Became a branch officer fairly quickly, and Patrick got taken up to the regional office as an RAA. So then once again, kind of just had to start doing my thing. Went to Formula A and beyond in 2017. Arbitration advocacy in 2022. Also in 2022, James and Chris Jackson came out to my branch. Uh, we had a backlog issue, so they came out to help take care of it and put me on the team. And the team lasted about 6 months, and that's where James and Chris kind of got their eye on me and stuff like that. And then after that, James started talking to me, and it's all she wrote. Now became branch president last July. Got got in this past October by acclamation. Just been going to town, trying to just trying to change the culture. Change isn't easy for people, and I've noticed that. I mean, change is never easy. I mean, if people think that I'm comfortable on a daily basis doing things, I mean, they're wrong. But these are the things that have to get done. Um, I got a great vice president around me. I got, trying to build a team. And, for me, being a good leader, you got to surround yourself with a strong team. If you don't have that, you ain't got nothing. That's what I appreciate about James. James, you, Kamitra, that's what it's about, So um, just trying to get better every day locally. And we're putting in a lot of hours to fix branch two in Milwaukee. We're doing really, really good. And now the director of city delivery thing, that's the next step.
What do you see as far as the Constitution lays out, director of city delivery? What are your responsibilities, kind of that the educational type things, the stuff as far as that's under your purview? Well, obviously, James would give you other assignments. I don't know if y'all talked about anything, but kind of what would it look like Director of City Delivery under Rob Kosier.
Well, so one of the things, and it's no knock to anybody else, but I mean, unfortunately, Chris got his duties taken away. Not all of them, most of them. Um, but some of the responsibilities, um, I think we need a foot in our ass on is the stupid bullshit with the scanners.
Yeah,
Absolutely, these scanners are not for scanning packages. Um, it's basically a harassment tool that management's using. So we got to get that shit taken care of. Um, even the basics of just using them as a time card. Um, I mean, these things are not okay. That's great. We can punch in, punch out. We can't retro punch. We got carriers getting disciplined for not having the correct punches, which, I mean, if you allowed people to retro punch, we could do that. Um, we see with their how they track people, constantly tracking people. I don't know how many times carriers have said, "Well, how is that even accurate?" Because when I scan a package, it says I'm 5 miles away. And
right,
they just give us some bullshit ass excuse.
right.
Um, so we got that. We have, God, the route inspections. The handbook and manuals. I mean, there's just so much stuff that, I think it's just time to you know, just give them hell, and stop being so damn complacent.
Yeah,
Um, I get, hey, this is how things have been done, but people in my branch can tell you, I hate that shit. I hate when people say that this is how it's always been done. Well, it ain't working. So why the hell are we going to continue doing it? Um,
yeah. The scanners, to me, it's the worst thing that's happened to us, Rob. We there's been more bullying and harassment based off of those scanners. And so to have a director of city delivery stay, and a lot of people, when you talk to them, talk about that being the concern. For the director of city to acknowledge that and say, hey, the scanners are our biggest issue. It's our downfall. They're for packages, but everybody knows what they're for. Stationary events. Now you've got hard acceleration and all this shit that they talk about. But the spine covert techniques, that's something that we're going to have to tackle. And I'm talking about immediately when we take over.
yeah. And, kind of a funny story, but, I actually met my wife because of the big blue scanners. Um, two, 2014, I looked up on Instagram and she was from Florida, and I was just curious about the blue ones after the flip phone ones, and that's actually how I met her and added her on Instagram was because of that scanner. That's the only good thing about the new scanners, though. That's it.
Is that you met your spouse?
That was it. That was it. That was the only good thing about them. But yeah, I mean,
I agree.
those scanners are just they're the harassment tool for management. I mean, the upper echelon in the postal service realized that their supervisors are a bunch of morons, so they got to have Big Blue watching us, and that's what's happening. And it's almost daily to hear people just taken into the office because of this, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm tired of hearing it on a daily basis. And to just let people know it's like, hey, look, management's got to do X, Y, and Z. I'm tired of telling them that, and they're tired of hearing that. Yeah, we know it because we're advocates, we're stewards and whatnot, but you're just regular run of the mill city carrier. They don't know these things. I mean, you're taking people with 30 plus years and telling them that they are doing something that they most likely didn't do. So that's something that needs to be addressed immediately, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
So how would you say direct to city delivery, education, kind of the education material stuff? What would be important for you under that purview as far as the education type stuff, the materials and stuff like that with business agents, with getting things to branch presidents, to making sure that those things are being relayed to the shop stewards. Because when I say we're going to reach every single letter carrier in the country, every single shop steward in the country is going to be educated. Every branch president is going to be educated. Um, and a lot of that will fall under you constitutionally. Now, obviously, I'll be helping with that and others will be helping with that. But what would be your game plan as far as that's concerned?
So this whole gatekeeper mentality, I can't stand it.
Yes.
I kind of came up in the post office with people doing that. I absolutely hate it. So my idea is, you know, utilize the tools that we have. Obviously, we got the internet, we got the members portal, we got Zoom, we got WebEx, whatever. That's what has to happen. If auto pivoting, that bullshit that just came out.
Yeah.
I have not heard a peep from headquarters about this. Nothing.
What about business agents? I'm not, of course, you don't, obviously, I hear a lot more because of the podcast, but I've not heard anything from any business agents hardly about this auto pivot.
Nope. I mean, there's maybe a few. Region 7 has touched on it. Um, but I mean, look around. I think it's evident just by social media that we have, or not we have, but they have some BS coming out once again, and it's crickets from DC.
Yeah.
Um, there should be some immediate training, and
Yeah.
the simple answer to the members on the floor is, well, your reporting requirements don't change. Okay, well, that's great. I know that, you know that, but the majority don't know that. And it's just, once again, here we go. We're going to find something to intimidate, harass. Um, some of the offices in my branch have talked about it. I haven't heard any implementation of it yet, but we're going to start. We've already started devising a plan, just because otherwise people would just be pissed off and once again just blame the union for this. So some bullshit like this comes out, we're going to put out an immediate training.
Yeah.
Anytime management farts, we're going to pull out training. You know,
Right.
we have to.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. And that's one of the things I said that we are lacking terribly in as far as national all the way down, from our president all the way down, is the pulse on the workroom floor, the city letter carrier, the things that are affecting them. Are we educating the members on, the 16.7s with the seatbelt? It can't just be, well, make sure you wear your seatbelt. Are we educating them on what if discipline comes down? What about stationary events? Are we educating them on how we're going to address that? It's nationwide. You got these metrics, our office time. Are we educating them on this nationwide? Um, One of the metrics again was the stationary events. Are we educating them nationwide? Now you got this pivot plan. Are we educating people nationwide? Because we know these are things that are being rolled out nationally. What are we doing as a union to protect our city letter carriers on the workroom floor against all of these things? Because it's a constant barrage right now from management, from labor, from the postal service. It's a constant barrage against the city letter carrier. And what has our union done about it? Nothing. Very little. Very few business agents are addressing any of these things. And so, yes, I agree, Rob, that when we're in there, you and I will be working hand in hand on these things to make sure a pivot plan is coming out, some kind of PowerPoint training thing that they're coming out with nationally. We're going to put something in a shop steward's hands within 2 days. This is how you're going. This is a template for you. This is how you're going to do it. We're going to have, great minds. I've already got people lined up that are going to make sure that templates are done. These white pages, white papers. I don't know if you ever remember those from back in the day. Getting those things in people's hands, and that's something that I look forward to working with you on. Is when things like that come up, handling these things nationally.
Yeah, I mean, we can't expect our stewards to go to war with water guns, and that's
Yeah.
what we keep doing to everybody.
Yes.
We're the ones who keep taking knives into gunfights. That shit
Yep.
has to stop immediately.
Yeah.
Um, the telemetrics, you know, some dumbass up there got bamboozled into just letting that shit slide, and then came out and said, "Oh, it's for vehicle maintenance." My ass.
Yeah.
That was such
Yeah.
bullshit, and it's going on every damn day. I mean, we've had managers straight up tell us, like, this is how it works. This is what they want. This is what they want to do. Okay, I guess you just want to fire everybody in the country then.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'd forgotten about telemax, those things. But yeah, I look forward to addressing things nationally again. When people reach out to us, getting that team, getting those people informed. What do we have in any handbook or manual that's going to help combat these things, and have our shop stewards ready in just a few days? Uh, I've been pissed about this, Rob, for 2 years now. Like I said when I started this podcast, my branch president fights everything. She's got JB as the Formula A, who I'd put up against anybody. I've never had issues. You know, every time something comes down, it's beaten. I mean, they beat it to death. So I didn't know things like this were going on across the country. That people were not educated, they weren't being represented. That branch presidents refused to combat a lot of these things. They just kind of concede things like our president nationally does. Conceding things as inconveniences. And so, uh, yeah, once you get into it, you realize we are hurting educational wise. We are not educating our people on the basics. And so that's one thing that I look forward to most, is me and you working together to uh, make sure that our country is educated again. The shop stewards are educated. Things are in their hands that are going to help them combat these things nationally. If you're not going to take things to a national level grievance, we can at least have people educated nationally. I know that this president doesn't believe in national arbitrations. I don't know that we've taken just a handful to national arbitration. Any of the things that we've been dealing with as far as the stationary events, I thought that was an easy one. Certifieds in the DPS, I thought that was an easy one. The hip training falsification, again, I thought that was an easy one. We've kind of, you know, gotten away from that. But if you're not going to take things nationally, the least you can do is educate nationally on how you can fight these things. That will come back, and that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to going to sitting down with you. Like I said, when I met you, saw what you was about, I knew that you were a rising star, that, you're going to be in a position quickly. And here you are, director of city delivery. So,
Yeah, I always tell the people in my branch, I'm not going to ask you to do something I would never do. Um, you know, put in a lot of hours in my branch to get the train moving right. And that'd be my plan, at the national level.
yeah,
This isn't an 8-hour job, unfortunately. I mean, if it was, well, then they're doing something wrong. So I just want to get in and I want to fix some shit, fuck some shit up, fix it, refix it, do whatever you got to do because nobody's perfect. We're not perfect. It might not work the first time, but
yeah,
just keep trying and we'll get it.
yeah. I've always said that, Rob, if you love the city letter carrier, everything else is going to fall into place because you're going to fight for the city letter carrier. You're going to make sure that you're educated so that you can protect the city letter carrier, but also the city letter carrier, if they know that you love them, you will fight and you will lose sometimes. But if you love me and you love the city letter carrier, they will still have your back. And that's the reason they've turned on Renfro like they have, is because he doesn't love us and he refuses to fight for us. And so he's losing all the way around. The thing that I love about the slate that James is putting together is that each individual loves the city letter carrier, is not afraid to fight. Uh, win or lose, you fight. And that's the slate that James has put an emphasis on is people that love the city letter carrier. They're going to fight for the city letter carrier. It's outside the status quo. When you look at the slate, it's not a bunch of recycled people at National. It's not the same people, the status quo. It's not the establishment. It's not the good old boy system that has just ravaged the executive council for a decade. He's gone completely outside the box and gotten people that love the city letter carrier, have a history and a passion for fighting for the city letter carrier. And, I think that you are the perfect fit for direct to city delivery because you're outside the box. You're not the status quo. You're not the establishment. Uh, and you're definitely not a good old boy out of the good old boy system. So I think you're a perfect fit. I know that when he was tossing your name out there, I was saying, I pray that it's this cat because of his integrity and his passion. So
And I appreciate that. And I think one of the telltale signs from why we're having a lot of issues and stuff like that is, you know, people are scared to do the right thing and scared to go back to carry their routes. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you got hired into the postal service. You shouldn't be scared to go back to carry your route. I don't care.
right,
It is what it is. If I got voted out as branch president, cool. Guess what? It's easier to carry mail. That's the easy job. Everybody wants to, hey, you're doing this, you're doing okay. So not scared to do it. Um, I just want an educated workforce. I not only do I want the stewards, the branch presidents, I want the members on the floor to know something as well. I put on a couple members training by me, and I think it helped. I mean, those are additional eyes and ears on the working floor, and we need that right now.
yeah, yeah, I love that. Um, I've always said an educated workforce is a devastating thing, and I truly believe that. An educated workforce makes the job easier for the shop steward, makes the job easier for the branch president, for the MBA. And for some reason, you said this a second ago, this gatekeeper mentality. We've got to do away. I don't understand it. I've never understood that as far as the union's concerned, this gatekeeper mentality. Why you would not want your workforce educated? Is it because it generates more grievances and that's money? I've always said that the city letter carrier is stuck in the middle between a postal service who is doing everything humanly possible to squeeze every penny they can out of the city letter carrier and the union who's doing everything they can to save the penny. And so the city letter carrier is kind of stuck in the middle and it's all based off of money. And so if that's the reason, then we failed. And so it cannot be about money, about grievances, because grievances are money. That's how the union looks at it. That's how the postal service looks at it. That's the reason they have these pre-arb sessions, is to save money at the carrier's expense. And so we will get away from that. That will be done away with because the city letter carrier has got to come first. And an educated workforce will definitely generate more grievances and it will cost a little bit more money. But if you want to control the workroom floor, which we want to do, we want to be the alphas again on the workroom floor, you got to educate your members. It's common sense, you know?
It's a must. I mean, we have to, and we have all the technology in the world now. I mean, I think COVID helped kind of broadcast the WebExes and the Zooms, and I mean, we
Yeah.
have it,
Yeah.
so we have to utilize it. It's the best way. Your podcast has been extremely helpful to so many people, no matter what they say about you, Corey.
You mean somebody said something bad about me?
Yeah, we're all in the same boat.
Join the club, brother. So,
I'm sitting in that boat with you today.
we rowing, son. We rowing for another year anyway. We're rowing together in this little boat, man, until we can take over this son of a bitch and get the city letter carrier back in the forefront, man.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited 100%. I mean, I've said it to you guys. I mean, if James asked me to follow him into a fire, I'm going with.
Yeah,
I trust what he says. If I didn't, I'm good here. I don't need to try to get any limelight. That's not what this is about.
yeah,
Um, so that James has built a good team, and I know there's some people who want in, but there's some questionable things, and maybe maybe some of these business agents around the country, will pull their head out of their ass and
yeah,
and kind of see the writing on the wall. Um,
yeah,
we definitely have some good ones, and I mean, it's game time.
yeah. And I'm glad you said that because that pisses me off. A lot of things piss me off, Rob, if you can tell. But you know, here's the CLC trying to change the culture on the workroom floor for the city letter carrier. That's what we're going to do. Trying to change the culture at the NALC, which will be difficult because it's ingrained in them to be passive and cowardly and all these things here. The problem is that you have business agents or whoever, saying, we support you, but we're going to wait, 6 or 7 or 8 months to come out, just to make sure that's cowardice to me, man. Because here we are, me, you, Mitra, James, in the fucking fray. You got others on the slate, business agents or whatnot on the slate in the fucking fray right now, you know, taking it to people, going here, going there, doing all these meet and greets, going to union meetings, trying to spread the word about who we are, what we're doing. And you have people sitting there on the sideline saying, hey, man, fight for us. And then we'll jump into this thing with y'all once we realize y'all have won it. And so that's something that pisses me the fuck off because to me, if you're going to say, we need to make a change, we've got to make a change for the city letter carrier. And the NLC, as it is right now, is not it. And so we need to make a change. The CLC is here. Hey, they got all the momentum right now. And so, yeah, I want to be part of that. And you don't have that. And it just pisses me off that people are like, well, we're with you, silently. We'll come out about 8 or 9 months. Well, what the fuck, man? We're in here doing this fucking fighting now.
I know it triggers you. That's why I said it.
I appreciate you. Was I not cussing enough for you or something?
Nah, if we'd have did this about 5, 6 hours ago,
you, you,
shit,
you would have run them numbers up on me, wouldn't
I was gonna probably hit 1,000. I was bad. It was bad.
you?
But
Well, that's the reason why.
I was just gonna say that's a part of where the passion comes from, though.
Yeah,
Um, I do. I've calmed down in my life from trying to always go to 10. I used to be that way when I was a lot younger. I always just go to 10, and then my wife calmed me down, and but now people know that if I go to 10, I must be pissed. So
yeah,
today is one of them days. you know um Everybody around the country is just getting fucked with these route inspections. um you know Management and their bullshit ass data,
yep,
falsifying. And by the time, I mean, I just can't even imagine. It's around the country, so it's like this is all going to come up, and got to work its way through the grievance process, and eventually most likely go to arbitration. And it's like, then what do you do? How many people have you fucked over doing this?
yeah,
Just in my state, we've caught the lead person doing it, just altering numbers, and it's just like a big fucking shoulder shrug with everybody.
yeah,
And then it's like, okay, Rob, what are you gonna do about it? And it's like, I can't. This isn't my process. This isn't our process. We're
mm-hmm,
stuck with this.
yeah,
I know it's not the answer they want. The only answer I can give them is We're dealing with it. It's going to be grieved, but I get where
Yeah,
they're coming from. That's bullshit. And
yeah.
I agree, so yeah, I mean, and that's a whole nother thing. And these stupid ass outdated handbooks and manuals that are old as dirt. Um, I don't know. I could keep going. I was trying to go to bed, and now you got those
You're
juices
welcome.
flowing. Yep. Now I could
Well,
probably sleep to midnight.
that's the reason I waited till 10:30 to do this. Is because I knew that you were on fire this afternoon. I was like, maybe we need to let my man cool off a little bit, and we'll do the episode at 10 at night when he's good and sleepy.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was yeah, all thanks to your laptops. Your laptop did something good.
God, don't even get me started on this piece of shit. Last night I was doing an episode and my laptop is so screwed up. And Mallory and Cole been working with me for about 4 hours today trying to get this thing fixed, and we can't. So I'm hoping this works. I'm hoping this Zoom right here gets recorded. But I was doing an episode last night. It took about 3 hours. I kept starting it, it would stop. Kept starting it, it would stop. Finally, about 11:30, I was into an episode about an hour deep, and the laptop just shut off on me. I lost the whole thing. I just turned it off and went to bed. And so I'm hoping that this comes on, this works out. I got to do an episode tomorrow. If it can last me till tomorrow, I got a new laptop coming in Wednesday and everything will be fine. But yeah, it's been 2 shitty days, man, with my laptop.
I feel your pain, but yeah, no, it's probably for the best to have waited till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I want you to cool down a little bit. I know you was hot under the collar a little bit today.
I
I could, I could tell.
Yeah, yeah, and then we had our CLC meeting, and
Yep.
it helped me calm down a little bit. So I'm good to go now.
Well, man, I'll tell you this, Rob. I could not be happier. I could not be more excited that it was you. And like I said, you're an up and comer and a brilliant dude as far as union, as far as workroom floor, as far as the grievance procedure, as far as education. I look at your branch. You're a brilliant dude, man, and I could not be happier for you, and I could not be happier for the city letter carrier that James tabbed you to be the next director of city delivery. I don't think he could have picked anybody any better. Uh, like I said, there are two names kind of floating out there. There's, ones they're looking at, and I was hoping that Rob would be chosen because I do think that you're one of those stars that's rising right now in the NLC. And I'm going to be glad to look back one day and said, I used to work with that dude right there. We used to sit in the same meetings with each other because you will be. This will not be it for you, brother, and I can tell. Just by the manner in which you do your business, how you interact with individuals. Like I said, you got a fucking spine on you from the shit that you've done and the people that you've called out. And so, my man, I couldn't be happier as a city letter carrier for my city letter carriers at my station and my branch and this region that they're going to have somebody like you as director of city delivery. And I think James hit a home run with it. I told him that. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't say, man, I hope you pick Rob. He called me and he said, hey, I've made my decision. And I was like, who is it? It's going to be Rob Kosier. I was
Is that what you
like,
wanted to talk? Is that what you wanted to talk to me about at COP?
yes. Yeah. But, you know, I, uh, I let James do his thing, and
It's kind of funny. That whole thing at COP because there was some additional people that we didn't have enough room for, and the lady
mhm.
offered us menus, and I'm like, all right, yeah, and then she goes, oh, but you can't sit here because you don't have a reservation, and I don't know what that was. That shit triggered me, and I walked the fuck out. And then after I got back to the hotel, I was like, oh, I could have just sat down with Corey, Corey and Dave, and
Yeah.
sometimes when I explode, I just vacate. I vacated, but no, I definitely appreciate that. Um, James talked to me about it, kind of talked a few things, and we had a long conversation. I agreed to do it. Um, I tell people, hey, look, don't be on the tracks when the train's coming through. That's us.
Yeah, it's
So
coming. Like you said, everybody's gonna get a piece.
get in or get out.
That's it. That's it. Because the motherfuckers aren't going motherfucking, man. And brother, I'm glad you're getting in. I'm glad you're getting in. I'm glad it was you, Rob. I really am.
No, I appreciate that, and I'll definitely appreciate everybody's support. Everybody's been a lot of messages today from the ones who knew. So it's nice. I mean, that's even coming from the some of the older cats. So it means something to me. People with a lot of experience, been around for a long time. This isn't no bullshit. Get my name out there. Hey, look at me. I look cool. I don't really give a fuck. I don't. That's not what this is about. There's just too many people. That's why we're in the boat that we're in. It means something else to somebody.
Yeah,
Whether they're no showing at events, or frolicking with publicists, or whatever the fuck they want to be. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we got to get back to being about one thing and one thing only, the city letter carrier. And I know that's what you're about, my brother.
yes, sir.
Well, Rob, anything you want to say, my man? We'll get off of here and I'll let you go to bed. I know it's way past your bedtime. It's about 3 hours past mine.
Yeah, yep. No, long day. So no, I'm good. You know what? You did do a good job by having your laptop fail, because I think this thing could have went on forever.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you know
agree.
what? I just thought of something. We
What's
could
that?
probably raise some money for the CLC by doing like an all night live podcast or live Zoom or some shit. You know,
Yeah, just like a slumber party.
yeah, and just have people going in and out. That'd be great
Just a slumber party Zoom. Just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
with our
Ask
clothes
whatever
on,
you want
though.
to ask. Yeah, definitely. Because if I didn't, then nobody would show up.
I did see Chris Reed's lower half
That's that's
stuff.
terrible.
It is. I had
That's
to mail them out to him. He left them in
yeah,
his room.
yeah. You know, when I went to Kona, and my wife and I went over there. We did some education, some training, and then we just took a few days. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'll come take you to a very good swim spot on the ocean." I was like, "Man, that's great." He's like, "It's a nice beach," and he came out in a thong.
Yeah, I thought he was bullshitting me. He wasn't.
He was not bullshitting.
Yep.
He had a thong on and a surfboard, and I was like, "What in the fuck is that?" But a great
Well,
guy, man.
I was just hoping that, like TSA wasn't gonna open my bag on my way home. And then like I had to tell my wife, like, hey, look, I brought these back. They ain't mine. I'm mailing them out.
They're not mine and they're not a woman's. They're Chris Reed's.
Facts. And he's gonna love that we mentioned him. So, and he don't
Yeah.
shy away from it. So,
He don't shy
but
away from shit. That
nope,
dude's gonna have a spot somewhere. I'm gonna put him somewhere because he's got a fucking that dude is fucking crazy.
he's
And that's what
great.
I want. Yes. He knows his shit. He knows his shit, but I love him. I love you, brother. I really do, man. And Rob, I cannot wait, man, to get in there and start, like you said, wrecking some shit for the city letter carrier. And I appreciate you coming on tonight, my man.
Man, I appreciate it. I'll be on again soon.
Absolutely. When
Like
you've
the
rested
the
up,
the Webster dictionary of soon, though, not the other
not
soon that we got acclimated to.
yeah, not your president's son. That's 700 days. You'll be on
Yeah, no,
before 700 days.
perfect.
All right, baby.
All right, man.
All right, Rob. Congratulations, my man. I'll holler at you later. All right, buddy.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too, bud. Bye.